Yes, hi, and welcome to Wisdom Talks with Yasmin Ann. So, this particular talk I gave at the Center for Spiritual Living in Yucca Valley, and it's called Spiritual Awakenings. So, everyone goes through a spiritual awakening at some point in their life, whether they realize it or not. We all grow at our own pace, and life is certainly a learning experience. But what is a spiritual awakening exactly? Well, when I looked it up, it said spiritual awakening is an awakening of a dimension of reality beyond the confines of the ego. The ego, which is our conclusive sense of self. Spiritual awakening implies the return of the original spirit or self. So, this awakening occurs when the ego lets go so that the higher self can arise within. At different phases of life, we tend to have an awakening. A metaphor that came to my mind was the ocean, because I've spent a lot of time in the ocean. So, scuba diving, swimming, love being in the ocean. Anyway, as the ocean is calm and we can relax and just float, it feels effortless, like life when life presents us with challenges. But it is true the struggle of trying to stay afloat, so to speak, that we then become aware of our surroundings and ourselves. And that's when we grow and we have now expanded our awareness. So, a spiritual awakening does not always look like the perfect picture where one is in bliss 24/7, or meditating, doing yoga, serving others, or breezing through life. After all, it is connected to our life lessons. And learning lessons usually means some sort of a struggle. But it is all about our perception. Is it a struggle or is it an opportunity? Most of the time, and for most of us, a spiritual awakening can mean suffering or struggling in your life. Mentally, you may feel overwhelmed. You might even feel like you're losing your mind sometimes, experience anxiety, confusion, and depression, or disharmony in relationships, even just trouble making decisions. Feeling lost on your path, stagnant, like nothing is happening. On a physical level, you can develop headaches, overall pain, or experience some life threatening diseases. You might try ignoring or even denying this process, but you can't. You cannot stop the flow of energy. An awakening can last for a few days or even a few years. So you might wonder why I'm so excited to share this somber, dark experience with you. Well, because I've discovered in my own life that it can be a gift. All these experiences can be a message that you're shifting into another phase of spiritual awakening. Don't ever forget that the universe will always send someone or something to assist you, no matter what you're going through in your life. But be aware of the signs. Yes, there are those who may have breezed through an awakening because they've been climbing the spiritual ladder for some time and living with awareness. But do not compare your journey to others. This will always lead you away from your path. Fear not, because along with the chaos, you will find that your intuition strengthens, emotions heighten, you yearn for meaning and purpose. You can also feel more connected and in harmony with nature. One thing is for sure, we and everything around us is energy, and energy has to be in motion. It has to shift. It has to transform, even if we're unaware of it. We're all currently going through a spiritual awakening at various levels. It just depends on where you are on your journey. As I said earlier, we can try to avoid it. If I ignore it, it'll just go away. Or sometimes we even become impatient. I want this to be over now. It's human nature to want to also take action, do something, fix it. But sometimes it's okay to do nothing, especially as far as major life choices when you're going through an awakening. There is a time for taking action and a time for just allowing. If you take the time to listen, you will be guided through this process. Meditate, go within, and trust your intuition. You cannot hear the voice within if you don't take the time to listen. So this is really key to just happiness in life. Find some way, whether it's meditation, a way to create stillness and to go within and to listen. Be aware, though, when you ask for guidance to walk your path, that the universe will respond and create situations to help you grow. Again, it might look a little different for someone who has been on the path for a while compared to someone who has just stepped onto a spiritual path. I'm having conversations with many people, and as they share their challenges, especially those who cannot see themselves as awakening, those who assume that only spiritual leaders have an awakening. But as I'm listening to their stories, I'm sensing this light inside them. And I know that their challenges, if they stay in awareness, will pass as they move through to the next level. We all now know from hundreds of teachers and scientists that the whole universe is going through a spiritual awakening or shift, if you will. But what happens when things are shifting and changing? We might feel like we're on shaky ground, out of control. And boy, does the ego want us to stay in control. So we fight, we resist, and then life becomes a struggle and we are unhappy and dissatisfied. As I said before, you cannot hold back or even force a shift in energy. You cannot put a spiritual awakening into a box, just as you can't stop a river that wants to flow downstream. Yes, you could place objects in the way, resist, but it will find an outlet and keep moving. The more you resist and struggle, the more power you give to all the challenges that, believe it or not, are actually here to help you grow and move to the next shift and level of higher consciousness. So be present and go with the flow. Trust in yourself. Trust in the universe or God or whatever that source is for you. You are never alone on this journey. And now might be a really good time to connect with whatever God or higher power means for you and ask for help, ask for guidance. I believe I heard somewhere at some point, ask and you shall receive. Well, I found that to be very true. Through the process of an awakening, though, your soul is stretching out and expanding to assist you in reaching a higher level of awareness. I have noticed that as I myself focus on my physical issues, that as I pay attention and I focus on it, that I create more anxiousness within myself and actually experience more physical pain. And when I'm caught up in that cycle, everything intensifies. But as soon as I repeat a mantra that I've been using and that works for me, it is and I am. It is and I am. Something shifts, something changes within me. It just simplifies everything and I feel grounded. I then become the observer of my experiences rather than losing myself in the chaos. So that's really one of the key things, learning to become the observer of your experiences and just observing what's going on around you rather than being caught up in it, in the chaos of it. Grounding yourself becomes very important when you are in transformation or transition. I love using nature as a guide and metaphor to help me. If you can imagine a tree, right, as it grows and the crown stretches up towards the light, the roots must also grow deeper to keep it sturdy. But using the tree as a metaphor for life, just notice how it surrenders to the elements. the seasons of change, disasters. Or in its own growth, it may lose a branch or shed its leaves. It might look a little different after a storm. But even if it is bent to one side or the branches are growing out everywhere, seemingly distorted, yet don't we always comment on its beauty and even look at its deformities as artistic? Through all the seasons, through all challenges, the tree just is. So what if we could mimic the tree, shed the old stuff, and learn to sway in the winds of life challenges, ground ourselves, put our roots deep into Grandmother Earth, and let our spirit reach towards the light? Then we might find the process of a spiritual awakening to be a much gentler ride. We are in charge of our journey, and we're always choosing every moment, whether we know it or not, what this ride will look like, what this life is going to be like. Is your perception of the experience gloom and doom? Woe is me, I am a victim of life. Others are causing my pain and unhappiness. Well, I'd like to share a little secret with you. No one or nothing outside yourself can cause you pain or discomfort, because it is all about your perception and whether you allow the outside world to take charge of your life experiences. You get to decide what and how things affect you. The only way we can stay the course and continue to grow is by continually developing and allowing ourselves to move forward on our path. As you personally grow and change, so does your life experiences. Change your beliefs and change your life. Change your perception and live with more joy, etc. But this only works if we can be fully present in each and every moment. You cannot change yesterday. You can only learn from it. And this process will help form the future. It is up to you how you choose to perceive your life experiences. This powerful spiritual awakening that is currently happening now will take us to excuse me for a moment, lost my pages here. Will take us to a new level of awareness. And again, change, something that I would like to repeat, that change is inevitable. Life is always moving. It's up or down. It has a rhythm. And so what we can do to create more joy in our lives is to learn how to move with that flow, with that rhythm. It's like a roller coaster ride. So I say, hold on and scream, woohoo, life is great. Namaste.